In this video, we're going to discuss rate management, and that all starts with caregiver categories. The caregiver categories determine the rate that gets billed for an appointment, and you have more granular price controls where you can make some more precise adjustments, but it all starts with the caregiver category. And so if you go to the admin section, click on caregiver categories, and then here we can click on the add button. So let us create a new caregiver category. So if I just want to call this test, down below I have boxes for hourly caregiver rate, hourly office rate, and live-in caregiver charge and live-in office charge. So let me explain these. For an agency, hourly caregiver rate is what you pay your caregiver. Hourly office rate is what you're making your margin on the appointment per hour. And so the combination of those two is what's actually going to get billed to the client. So let's say the caregiver was getting paid $15 per hour, you were making $5 per hour. That sums up to $20 per hour billed to the client, and that's all the client would see. The 15 and 5 is just for your internal purposes. As a registry, the hourly caregiver rate is what your caregiver as an independent contractor is charging the client, and the hourly office rate is what you as the registry are charging the client. The live-in section works similarly, except these are for the full 24 hours as opposed to an hourly rate. So these numbers might look something like that. Okay. And this is just a test, so I'm not going to save it. We're going to just stick with the existing certified and companion categories. And let's say I want to make some edits onto those rates, make some additional adjustments in the rate management. We're going to go over to the accounting section, and we're going to click on rate management. And let me walk through the settings over here. First of all, in this rate setting box, you can select client-based or caregiver-based. And that's going to be when you have a discrepancy between the category that's on the appointment and the caregiver. So let's say, for instance, you have an appointment that you would set as companion type, and then you have a caregiver you've assigned to that appointment who is certified type. If it's client-based, we're going to go with the pricing for the companion pricing that was on the appointment. If it's caregiver-based, it's going to use the category that's on the caregiver, certified in this example. Most of the time, you're going to have the same category on the appointment and the caregiver. So it's not going to matter what this setting is. This is just for handling a discrepancy between the two. Now down here in the weekend setting, you can set surge pricing for weekend. Let's say you want to increment prices by a fixed amount on hourly office or on the caregiver side. You could do it as a percentage as well. And you have the same sort of granularity for live-in appointments. Down here, turn that off. Down here, we can set different rates for appointments that are below a certain hourly threshold. Let's say, for instance, I want to have higher pricing on appointments that are under 4 hours. Flip the 4-hour switch. Now, if I go over to the default rates tab, in addition to the certified and companion hourly and live-in rates, we also now have certified less than 4 hours and companion less than 4 hours. And those rates are going to match the regular hourly rates to start with. Let's say I want to go in and make them $1 higher on the caregiver side, $1 higher on the office as well, so a $2 higher rate per hour. I'm going to do the same thing on the companion one. Update. Okay, so now let's see, I click save. That's going to lock in those changes. Now there's also a clients and caregivers tab right here, and if your rate setting was client-based, you'll see your list of clients here. The caregivers tab would be available if you were caregiver-based. Since we're on client-based, we'll start over here, and what this lets you do is you can set specific pricing for a given client. So right now, all of those rates are just going to be the defaults that are determined by the caregiver category. But if I wanted to override one, I could just click on it, turn off the default, enter whatever I like, perhaps 20 and 8, and there you go, you've overridden it. Now, the orientation rates tab is going to give you even more granular control. This lets you set specific rates for different combinations of clients and caregivers. So let me back up and talk about orientation. If you go to the caregiver section, click on a caregiver, and then go to the orientation tab, you can select clients that that caregiver is oriented with. And this just means clients that you know who are a good fit with that caregiver. And that's useful for when you're scheduling and you have an appointment for a client. You can filter by oriented caregivers, and it also populates them into this table. So if I wanted to create a specific rate for this client and one of these caregivers, I can click on it and do just that. Now, as an agency, this is not very useful, but as a registry, it's very useful because your caregivers are often going to be negotiating different rates with different clients, and this is how you can document that. So in terms of priority, the orientation rate will out-prioritize the client or caregiver rate, which out-prioritizes the caregiver category rates. But the highest priority of all is if we go to the schedule and click on an appointments and simply override the rate on the appointments. Let's say I wanted this to be a little bit lower. Let's make it 8 and 4. And that sets the rate right there on the appointment, highest priority. Okay, that's it for rate management. Have a good one.